Randy, if you come to the last paragraph, and that's where I'm more angry, and I think when we go to Parliament this morning, I know the reaction will be very obvious. People are really, really disturbed about the language, the tone of the words used in the last paragraph. To cease. Is the president telling us to cease communicating to the presidency?
They cease and desist.
And desist from. It's only, let me say, a dictator. It's only, Idi Amin like president or head of state who will use these words on a legitimately mandated arm of government. You understand? Desist, cease and desist from transmitting the bill to the president. Is Asante Bediato telling Parliament to cease respecting the Constitution?
This is the president telling you. Bediato is only...
Yeah, so the president is telling us, to disrespect the Constitution.
The president says that there is an interlocutory injunction application.
Notice of.
And that
is a notice.
Well, what he is saying...
In fact, the statement of the case have not even been
which means that the president is wrong.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, but I'm saying that in his letter, he suggests that there is that application, that it is settled law. And therefore, you ought to know better, especially a parliament that is headed by a lawyer.
But the presidency that is headed by a lawyer doesn't need to know more. The president is a lawyer.
So that is why he appreciates that you should not be attempting to.
No, but the fact still remains that our constitutional mandate cannot be held in hostage.
Because of this application?
Yes, because of this application. Then why did the president sign the E-levy bill into law when there was a pending application in court?
Maybe he didn't know.
The president didn't know. So he can pretend to know certain things and pretend not to know certain things. That's the hypocrisy and the dishonesty about this particular government that I've always talked about since 2017. They are so dishonest about things. You, the president, who decided that the E-levy is so important to you, and as such, even you were so much in a hurry, I think the president were calling the parliament, the clerk of parliament, to submit it for his signature. He did. Today, let me ask a simple question. There is a notice of injunction on the presidency and on parliament from approving the nominations of the president for ministerial appointments.
Are you talking about the
Honorable? Yes. Is the president saying that because of that, Parliament should not approve his ministers?
You can choose to go the president's
because
way. If you agree with the legal principle that he's standing on, you can also decide to do that.
Randy, that is a recipe for disaster in this country.
So that so what we are being told is that anytime that Parliament takes a decision or is going to take a decision and somebody goes to court, everything must cease. You can't muzzle the legislature. The legislature is the representatives of the people. So the president is telling us that the president, is more important than all Ghanaians put together, represented by their people in parliament. The constitution is bigger than the president. The president, we are not living in an absolute monarchy. We are not living in a dictatorial regime where constitutions are not respected. We are living in a constitutional democracy where the constitution of the country, the 1992 constitution, must be respected in all its terms and its tenets and in its spirit. And as such, the president should have asked Parliament to submit the bill and say, because you've submitted it, fine. But under my constitutional mandate, I've been informed there's a legal case pending, so I'm unable to sign until that case is dealt with. But to ask Parliament not to even attempt to submit it. First of all, that first paragraph clearly demonstrates that everybody at the Jubilee House has been instructed
not to accept
anything.
Yes.
Because the only way you can say Parliament is attempting is that there was a person or a courier from Parliament who, as they always do, came to,
submit.
Yes, and people had been asked not to receive any such thing.
Yes.
So they declined to receive
it. And Parliament tried to insist on leaving it behind, and they refused to take it.
So that is why I say Parliament attempted.
Yes. Because if he has said that, we've taken note of the fact that Parliament, in our absence, Parliament submitted the letter.
But which absence? After the absence there, it doesn't...
I'm saying, if you want to be very diplomatic in your language, say that we've been notified of the Parliament dropping a letter of this thing in my absence. But to say that Parliament attempted means that there was a rigorous refusal on the part of the presidency to make it impossible for Parliament to submit. And that alone is averse to the Constitution. That alone it tells us that the presidency has disrespected the Constitution. Because the Constitution says clear that Parliament must submit. It said Parliament shall. That's what I think this thing shall submit to the president 14 days. It said after 14 days, the president is not happy. He has the right to, through the advice of the Council of State, resubmit it to Parliament. And Parliament shall have 21 days to deliberate on it and see whether we can incorporate the recommendations made by the president. So, in actual fact, the Constitution does not give the president any avenue to refuse to sign into law any bill that is passed by Parliament. There was a whole scheme about this. And you remember very well, even when the president first reacted to the passage of the bill, citing the court cases, there was no pending case. In fact, the president's letter came before the date that the case was filed in court. So we're asking, did the president preempt the filing of the case in court? Did the presidency know anything about that case? That the presidency should know that somebody is going to court and issue a letter before that case was even filed in the first place. That notice was filed in the first place. So you could see that the president never expected us to go that route. And we've gone that route, and it's made the presidency very uneasy. It's made the presidency very uncomfortable. And what they want to do is to, as much as possible, give a blow. They want to kill the bill before it, or the best thing the presidency is trying to do, I can see Akufo-Addo and Bawumia doing, is cleverly avoid the assent to this particular bill and throw it onto John Mahama when John Mahama becomes president, so that he will not be blamed by his financiers and so-called friends out there who have always manipulated him in a way to assent to or to accede to the fact that we should permit this particular behavior, this particular sexual preference to prevail in this country. Look, the truth of the matter is that the presidency should know that we already know that he has been dishonest about this. Let me tell you this. When the president went and had an interview outside, his posture in that interview was that, it's bound to happen when there is enough advocacy for it. It could happen. When he came to Ghana and he met the Methodist Church at, I think there was a program in Ashanti region, he said, it will not happen under my presidency. That will not happen. Look at his posture.
But what he said really was that the legalization of it will not happen. Sometimes people don't realize that the two are not the same.
Legalizing
proscribing it and legalizing it, they are not the same.
Yes. Yes.
So the fact that I will not legalize it
doesn't mean I will prescribe it.
Yes, but I will also not prescribe it.
That's exactly what he said. So what I'm saying is that, but then you see, that one was to satisfy a particular constituency. And then when he was outside, his language was more diplomatic and to satisfy that constituency outside. So the president himself has been very dishonest when it comes to this particular issue. So his whole posture, I see, is that let me not take the responsibility of being the one whose tenure this thing became proscribed, or let me also take responsibility of not hurting the feelings of my people by sitting down and allowing the prescription.
But this gymnastics, I mean, people can see through, people will be able to read through, I mean, to be honest.
Randy, but you know, this is a government, this is a political party, a political persuasion that have always been able to use language, lies, you know, let me say, cliches, political jargons, to be able to sway the mindset of many Ghanaians. And they think they can continue to do that all the time. So all this they are doing, as you can see, I know you can do that. Just scan through or keep track with all the communicators of government and their reaction to this. And you will see that these are people who are bent on using sweet words to deceive people to think that the president is right in all that he has done. I'm being frank with you. You will not get one of them coming out to say that they agree with the fact that what the president said.
We are with the response of Parliament.
I think it will be swift and it will be very, let me say, reactionary, and it will be very, in the same language he has used, very disrespectful to his position as president. I think it is time the Parliament would disrespect the president as much as he disrespects us. Yes, I think it is time, as a legislature, we disrespect the president as much as he disrespects us. In US, when Donald Trump decided to disrespect the Senate, what did the Senate do? They disrespected him to prove to him that we have equal powers under the Constitution. Just that he's an executive and we are the legislature. And as such, he must accord to us the same decorum and respect that we should accord to the presidency. But in a situation whereby he thinks that Parliament is just a group of people he can trample upon, look down upon, we also reserve the right to look down upon the presidency and treat him the same way.
All right, okay.